Hey guys, and welcome to your daily mobility flow. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's start on your feet, and we're gonna go like a middle spread today. So not super narrow, but not so wide that your feet start to slide. And we're just gonna rock down into those hamstrings. So I'm gonna turn real quick this way. I want you to sit back as far as you can. See my toes coming off the ground as far as you can without falling over. So not here, leaning forward into the ground like this. Sit back into your hamstrings. And let's rock that. Kind of rotate your torso to one side, back and forth. And we'll just shift back forth, switching it up every time. Should not feel this in your groin right now. If you do, your feet are too wide. We want to try to find that belly of the hamstring right on the back of the leg. If you rotate far enough out, you might even get a little bit of lower back stretch. That's probably your QL. Do, but the goal here is primarily the hamstrings. We go hamstrings, quads, calves today. A little bit more lower body. Keep shifting back and forth, about 2 seconds on each side. Just nice and easy. Try to work your way into it, glide into it. Okay, we're gonna take a second here in the middle, and we're gonna pop out of that. Drop one knee back. Might be useful to hang on to something for this part, but you don't have to. I will. And we're gonna go here. I gotta swing this foot up into my hand, and then we're gonna rock forward, adding the hips forward and the heel to your butt, and back. Forward and back. I know what you guys are thinking. I'm not sold on this lighting setup either. I'm gonna try to tweak things every day this week, and then I'll review them and see which one looks the best at the end of the week. Different kind of lighting setups. The problem is I have a window right there, but the window faces this way, like to where the door is. So I can't really set up in that corner, otherwise there'd be a door in the background that would look really lame. Keep rocking in and out. As you guys know, I'm doing this in a room in my house. This is not a professional studio. This is the first time I've really ever used a camera like this or tried to light anything besides like an iPhone. So practice, just like your mobility. We'll try to just get a little bit better every time, and I'm sure we'll make some mistakes along the way. But eventually, we'll have the setup we need. I hope. All right, let's switch sides. Foot into the hand. This can be kind of tricky to get it up there. Just fling it and lean back. And let's rock back and forth. Add that stretch and get rid of it. Kind of sore yesterday. Today I feel pretty good. Truthfully, I thought my hamstrings and my quads would be crazy tight today based on how I felt yesterday, but things feel pretty good. If only this rain would go away. We've had such great weather for the last couple weeks, and right now it's looking out the window, it's just rain. All right, a couple more reps. I had this one in before almost any workout. Good. and rest. We're gonna switch back, but this time we're gonna hips in like this, and we're gonna lean in that way. So actually, you can still use your wall or whatever support, but we're gonna, so think like this, squared up on your knees, 1 foot up and out, and then we're gonna rock that hip in. And we're just gonna get a little bit of groin, a little bit of adductor stretch, rocking out. Back in, you can play around with this foot position out in front. Find a place that feels good. If you get the right one, you can kind of get a little ankle mobility in there at the same time. Kind of push that ankle forward, driving the hips, and then come back out. Reposition that foot, come back out. You might find turned out a little bit more would be a little more helpful. You might find a little bit more kind of forward might be more helpful, but drive that forward, hip and ankle. Could even like move this knee, so I'm gonna slide this knee forward. I'm gonna drive it out and get a little extra kind of hip stretch. Let's do one more rep. Out and switch. So get squared up, other foot planted out. That might be a little too wide for this foot, so I'm gonna slide it in some. Play around with it. If you bring it in too narrow, you won't be able to get your hip. If you take it too wide, it'll be all hip and no ankle. So we want to find that sweet spot where I can drive my knee forward, see this angle, where I'm trying to close that angle down, but this angle, I'm trying to open, close, back and forth. This one will make all the difference in your squatting ability. Hip and ankle is like 90% of why people struggle with squatting. Tight ankles, tight hips, and a lot of it has to do with the popularity of long distance running. Nothing wrong with it. No problem at all. I've run 31 and 50-mile races, but running for long distances is a very short range of motion, repetitive type of exercise. So it's tap, 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 tap. You do, hundreds of thousands of strides in any one workout. Keep taking that stretch away and adding it back. Hundreds of thousands of strides in any one workout. I gotta get a little more hip, hang on. And it's such a short range of motion that over time, your body really stabilizes your ankles and your hips. The opposite of mobility is stability. You want stability in your joints, but you don't want it at the cost of mobility in the right places. So short range of motion movements, really repetitive. Your body says, hey, we don't need that much range of motion. Good, go ahead and rest. We don't need a ton of range of motion, actually. We just need this short repetitive range of motion, and we need really stable ankles and stable hips to be able to withstand the pounding of the ground. And what you end up with is tight ankles and tight hips because your glutes stabilize the hip as your trunk swings. They open the hip all the way in terms of like they lock out. Like right now, hips bent, I can't squeeze my glutes. To squeeze my glutes, I have to open my hips all the way. And I can turn that on because that's what they do, right? So let's get into this bottom of the squat position. We're gonna finish out those ankles today. We're gonna work back and forth, kind of shifting side to side on this ankle, and then switch. We'll get a couple waves, is what we'll call them, kind of pinky toe out, big toe in. You can use the other hand to support if you want to grab onto something for support, or if you want to sit back up against something, like let's say, use this chair. I can kind of find my squat depth and plop my butt back against it. And that just adds some ability to kind of sit in that stretch without falling over while I'm working on my ankles. So your glutes open, your hips all the way. Well, when you're running, you're pretty much standing up and down, but you got a little bit forward cant. Hips are a little bit, broken. They're bent just a tiny bit. And so your glutes act primarily as a trunk stabilizer when you run. And again, something that stabilizes over time, it ends up being too stable. You get really tight hips, really tight glutes, back and forth. Just a couple more of these, we're almost there. Nothing too crazy. Good, all right. Let's get back to those hamstrings. Again, we're going hamstrings, quads, and ankles today. Hamstrings, quads, and ankles. We're going down. Take that stretch away. We're not gonna add the hip in right now. You could swing this all the way forward and add that hip and then sit back, hamstring. We'll primarily focus on the hamstring here. So you don't spend a lot of time on the hip if you wanna rock forward and catch it, but spend most of your time back here working on your hamstrings, back and forth. If you want an extra calf stretch here, you can go to this position, add the hand and lift, and they'll light your calves up, because again, your calves cross the ankle joint. That's how they actually manipulate the foot or the ankle. So when you add in this long here and then add that, you can get a good calf stretch. Do what you need. If you need calves, do the calves. I'm gonna stay focused on my hammies today. Maybe add a little tiny bit of calf in there, but not anything too crazy. Back and forth. That's like my least favorite way to stretch my calves. Just don't like it. All right, let's get one more rep. All right, switch sides. So when you'll realize how much change you just made. You switch sides and you're like, wait, I was this tight when I started. Back and forth. Oh yeah, that was, gotta work into that a little bit. Catch that stretch and rock back, hamstrings, calves, hip, hamstrings, calves, ow, hips. Well done, well done. Okay, just do one more rep. Hips forward, hamstring, calves. All right, good. All right, let's finish this out with a little extra quads. Let's get to this position. We're going ankles the other way. So we've been working on closing the ankle. Now we're gonna open it so my feet are flat. This might be the best you can do today, or sit back. We'll want to just slowly kind of work back into a little deeper position. Again, the quads, right? When we add the hip and the knee, just like when we're doing our lean forward, the hip and the knee are working together, which stretches the quads. So by being in this position, I can set my knee into that flexed out position all the way, heel to my butt, and then I can add the hip in to get that extra stretch in my hips and my quads. So again, play this where you can. If you need to come out of it for a second and then sit back in. Okay, this might be your rock today, right as you work on those ankles and knees, but you might be able to get down like this over time. And this is really knee and hip, and then ankle working the other way in terms of plantar flexion. But take your time. We're not gonna spend a lot of time here. Take away that stretch when you need to. Don't force it, don't fight it. Just let your body relax. And we're gonna hang out here for another like 20 seconds or so. 30 seconds maybe. Who's counting? I'm not. So here. Relax. Could not always do this. It's not the case. Was not always flexible. I'm still not flexible in a lot of ways. There's a lot of things I need to work on. And that's a lot of the point of this. All right, let's go about 10 more seconds. But you It's just like building strength. It's just like building endurance. Just gotta have consistency. So if you want, all right, let's come out with this nice and slow. If you want better mobility, you gotta be consistent. If you wanna be stronger, you gotta be consistent. If you wanna be a better endurer, long distances, or more endurance and workouts and things like that, you gotta be consistent and working on it. So thanks for being consistent. Thanks for being here. I will see you guys tomorrow.